All right, welcome back to Queens of the Damned, a horror podcast. This week we are doing one of our battles, and I will be the judge. This is Nikki, by the way. And Miranda and Rachel will be facing off to give me their best haunted object.
I picked a painting, actually, that I first heard about, I want to say like a little over a year ago I think I saw it on Facebook, and it really freaked me out when I first read about it, because the first thing that you see is like, if you look at this painting, you're probably going to get sick, or you're going to die soon, or something tragic is going to happen to you. And that's never something that you want to see when you see a picture on Facebook. It's like, all right, well, I already saw it, so now what?
Wait.
Like, I'm already screwed. So the painting is called The Hands Resist-Em, and it was painted by Bill Stoneham in 1972, and it was inspired by his then wife's poem called Hands Resist-Em, and he based the imagery on a picture he found of himself when he was 5 years old. So the painting is of a young boy. He's directly in the center of the painting, and behind him there's this glass door, and there's these childlike hands extending towards the glass. And to his right, our left, there is a young girl who is depicted as a doll, kind of leaning up against the wall facing him. It's a really creepy picture when you look at it. It's great artwork, but, you know, I think it creeps me out just looking at it, even not knowing the story or anything. It still creeps me out.
I'm looking at it right now.
Isn't it creepy? I think it's creepy.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, and we'll post pictures of it. I have a few other pictures I'm going to post as well, but just so that you can see, like, what I'm talking about here. So Bill Stoneham says that the door in the picture is meant to symbolize the division between the waking world and a world of fantasy or imagination. And the doll is this boy's guide to escort him through this imaginary world. And then the hands in the background are meant to represent different possibilities or lives. So this painting was first displayed at the Feingarten Gallery in Beverly Hills in the 70s. And it was purchased by John Marley, who played Jack Woltz in The Godfather. After John Marley died, the painting was found on an old brewery's website. And an old Californian couple found this painting, and they were the ones who later put it on eBay in February of 2000. They claimed that it was cursed. The couple said that the children in the painting moved around at night, that they sometimes would even leave the painting and enter the room that the painting was in. Included in this listing with the painting, so when you purchase the painting, you would get pictures that they considered proof that the children were moving around. And these pictures depicted an incident where the doll girl had held the boy at gunpoint to get him to leave the painting. So here's the description that they put underneath the painting. When we received this painting, we thought it was really good art. A picker had found it abandoned behind an old brewery. At the time, we wondered a little why a seemingly perfectly fine painting would be discarded like that. Today, we don't. One morning, our 4.5-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night. Now, I don't believe in UFOs or Elvis being alive, but my husband was alarmed. To my amusement, he set up a motion-triggered camera for the nights. After 3 nights, there were pictures. The last 2 pictures shown are from the stakeout. After seeing the boy seemingly exiting the painting under threat, we decided the painting has to go. Please judge for yourself. Before you do, please read the following warning and disclaimer. Warning. Do not bid on this painting if you are susceptible to stress, related disease, faint of heart, or are unfamiliar with supernatural events. By bidding on this painting, you agree to release the owners of all liability in relation to the sale or any events happening after the sale that might be contributed to this painting. This painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life. However, by bidding, you agree to exclusively bid on the value of the artwork. With disregard to the last 2 photos featured in this auction, and hold the owners harmless in regard to them and their impact, expressed or implied. Now that we got this out of the way, one question to you eBayers. We want our house to be blessed after the painting is gone. Does anybody know who is qualified to do that? The size of the painting is 24 by 36 inches, so it is rather large. As I have had several questions, here are the following answers. There was no odor left behind in the room. There were no voices or the smell of gunpowder. No footprints or strange fluids on the wall. To deter questions in this direction, there are no ghosts in this world. No supernatural powers. This is just a painting, and most of these things have an explanation. In this case, probably a fluke light effect. I encourage you to bid on the artwork and consider the last 2 photographs as pure entertainment, and please do not take them into consideration when bidding. As we think it is a good idea to bless any house, we still welcome input into that procedure. So that was their disclaimer underneath the picture, which I find really strange because at first they start saying, like, this thing is haunted and we really don't want it in our house, and then at the end they're like, oh, there's no such thing as ghosts. Please buy my painting. I think they were saying whatever they had to get rid of it. So people began claiming that simply viewing the painting online made them uncomfortable, feel sick, or have unpleasant experiences. And the auction page was eventually viewed 30,000 times. Yeah, it was eventually sold for $1,025. It was purchased by Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so it's not too far from us, actually. And when the owner of this gallery contacted Stoneham, he was shocked when the gallery owner had told him all of the stories that were going around about this painting. And he recalled that the gallery owner and the critic who had viewed the painting, they both were around the painting at the same time. They had both died within 1 year of contact with the painting. But much later on, people requested a sequel, so he creates one called Resistance at the Threshold, which simply depicted the characters 40 or more years later. Then he created a second sequel called Threshold Revelation in 2012, and then somebody requested a prequel, and he called it The Hands Invent Him. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And then in 2016, Darren Kyle O'Neill writes, The Hands Resist Him, Be Careful What You Bid For. Simply a book about the painting, just in general, and everything that had happened with it. He apparently had his own experience with the painting. While he was in Dubai, he had printed the painting from an online source and set it down on his table. He went to Italy for 1 month, and when he came back, everything had green mold on it, and the only thing that was untouched was that image. So that's pretty much everything about the painting. The evidence that that the owners claim to have are a little weird. So what they're claiming is that the little girl is holding a gun. Basically, that's all it shows is like, it's these really red, like she just looks really red. And because of the coloring, some of the background is kind of blacked out. And it looks like she's holding a gun right behind the little boy. The owner actually has had no experiences with it. The owner has actually said that the weirdest things that have happened to her are the emails that she gets from people all the time about, like, telling her how to bless her house, and she has people trying to buy it from her in the lower 6 figures. But she keeps turning it down. She doesn't want to sell it to anybody. She just kind of keeps it in a warehouse. She doesn't even have it hung up. So, I don't know why she doesn't have it hung up or why she doesn't want to sell it, but she must have a reason. But yeah, for her, nothing has happened.
Weird.
Yeah.
So did they post the pictures of the kid supposedly being forced out of the painting?
Yeah. Here, let me see if I can send it to you guys.
Because I'm kind of looking at Google Images and I don't see it.
Yeah, I found them on one website.
There's a video here on Google Images that kind of looks like it shows, I don't know. I'm probably wrong.
Let me see. I'm going to try this whole, like, share screen thing. Okay. Can you guys see him?
Yes.
Yeah. But where's he moving?
It doesn't show him moving. It just shows, like, do you see how it looks like she's holding a gun?
Oh, I see that.
Yeah. See? And, yeah. And you can see it in both images.
It looks like that because the part of the window pane, it's not a pane. I guess part of the whatever the little slat goes across in the window, it's right across that little canister that she's holding.
Yeah.
So if you zoom in, which I've been doing, she's holding this.
It's a battery, I think.
It's a battery.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that it was a battery and it has, like, wires coming out of it or something like that. It's some sort of, like, electrical unit.
The window crosses in back of it and it makes it look like a gun, and you can see both images.
Yeah.
But it's definitely creepy. I mean, all the hands in the background and, like, it's so weird that she's like a doll.
Yeah. And she's like, his neighbor when he was a kid. It's supposed to be the little girl that lived next door, but as a doll for whatever reason.
Doll.
I also noticed the little boy has like a little cut on his forehead, like for no reason. Did you guys see that?
Hang on, I did not notice that.
Like on the right side of his forehead, unless
yeah, I see it.
It looks like a little
above,
scab.
Yeah, like above his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see it.
And then at the top of the painting, there's a moon. Like, it's like a phase of the moon, except it's not. It's like upside down.
Creepy. It's definitely weird.
Yeah, I see it. I think that Creepypasta got a hold of it. There's videos on YouTube about it. I mean, there's lots of different stuff about it, but yeah.
Cool.
Man. Haunted objects just freak me out.
I know.
Yeah.
It's worse than people. It's just like an object that has its own agency.
It is. The sequel paintings and prequel painting are like, those are really creepy too, so.
Are they? I didn't look them up, actually.
They're weird.
Did you see the original photo that the original one was based on?
Yeah.
It's kind of cute, but also a little bit creepy.
Oh, that's so weird. What the hell? Why is her face move?
I know. I don't get it.
And there's bees. There's bees. I don't understand what is going on.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What's the last one? The hands invent him.
Is that the prequel painting?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like what's happening on the other side of the door.
Oh man, dude, I don't want to know what's happening on the other side of that door.
It's the artist as a kid.
They're all so weird.
They're very strange, but very neat. I don't know.
Ooh, I like the hands invent him. I think that's my favorite.
I like the hands invent him too.
And you can see the moon. But now the moon, it's like hanging on a string. It's a fake moon. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Ew, there's little people crawling out of the floor.
Oh my god.
And some sort of like Blair Witchy talisman on this tree.
Yeah.
And like a random hand on a string sitting on top of a tray.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What the hell?
It's like Cousin It.
I don't even know what's going on.
Or no, not Cousin It. Thing. Wasn't that his name? Thing? The hand?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Weird.
Man.
Creepy.
Yeah.
That's fun. I love weird art.
This guy must have suffered from sleep paralysis.
When I was looking it up, it said something about Jung, the psychologist.
Oh, yeah. He's the dream guy, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I read somewhere that he took some ideas from, like, Jungian psychology and all of that. All the symbolism and everything.
He was the archetype guy. I keep thinking.
Yeah.
All right.
Symbols are universal, all that kind of stuff.
Weird.
Wow, I've never heard of that. That is really interesting.
Weird.
And I'm probably going to be thinking about it when I'm trying to fall asleep tonight.
Now you're cursed. You're both cursed.
Oh no.
Especially because we saw all of the paintings.
Worse luck than usual.
Weird.
Oh no. Okay. Ready, Rachel?
Oh yeah, okay, my turn. Okay, so I chose Robert the Doll. So Robert the Doll, I heard about maybe like 2 or 3 years ago from my friend Garrett, who I know listens. So hi, Garrett. This is my best friend. Yeah, he told me about this. So Robert is a one-of-a-kind doll. It was handmade by a toy company in Germany around the turn of the century. Robert is over 3 feet tall. which is large for a doll, obviously.
Nope.
Yeah, it's already creepy.
Yep. He's people size. He's dressed in a sailor suit. And if you look at him now, which we'll definitely post pictures of him because he's terrifying looking now. But originally his face was painted. And they believe that it was painted like in the style of like a court jester. So he was like a clown. So they believe that he was made in the image of his owner. So this doll was custom made for this little boy, Robert Eugene Otto. So for the purposes of this story, I'm going to call the little boy Gene, because that's what he went by, and then the doll is Robert. He named the doll after himself. So allegedly, like, this is probably not true, but like, allegedly, the doll was given to Robert by a servant who was from, I don't know, let's say somewhere in the Caribbean, who of course was practicing voodoo, and the parents had were gonna fire this person, and so they gave him this cursed doll. I mean, that's clearly not true. That's clearly just like the racial overtones of the time.
Yeah.
But in any case, he's given this doll as a gift by somebody. He started to go everywhere with the doll. He would bring the doll everywhere that he went. And at first, people were just figured it was a typical kid with his toy. But then there was one night when Gene woke up and he found Robert sitting at the end of his bed staring at him, which is not where he had left him. And a few minutes later, Gene's mother is awoken by her son screaming for help and sounds of furniture being overturned in her son's bedroom. When she gets to his room, the door is locked from the inside. She's finally able to get it open, and she finds her son curled up on his bed crying. Furniture and objects thrown everywhere, and Robert still sitting at the foot of the bed. And the only thing that the little boy would say is that Robert did it. It happened quite a few times throughout his childhood. Things would go missing, things would move, things would be destroyed. He would always blame it on Robert. His parents would hear him upstairs talking to the doll in his normal voice, and then hear a response in a much deeper adult male voice. They reported seeing the doll speak. They reported seeing the doll move. Servants were continually quitting at the home, and when they quit, they would say they heard giggling and would see the doll running up the stairs, like just out of sight. Or they would be outside and they would look up and the doll would be staring out the window at them. Yeah. So Gene obviously eventually moves out, takes the doll with him. After his parents die, he and his wife Anne move back into his childhood home, and of course he brings the doll. He gives the doll his own room, which is upstairs, and the doll's room has a window that's overlooking the street, so the doll can see outside. So the wife was uncomfortable with Robert. She wasn't really sure why. She just knew that, the doll creeped her out. So she told her husband to lock the doll in the attic, and he did. Of course, the doll was not happy about being locked in the attic. Visitors to the home reported hearing footsteps, the sound of someone pacing back and forth and giggling. Children in the neighborhood reported seeing Robert watching them from the attic window, and a few said that they could hear the doll mocking them as they walked to school. At one point, the kids started to report seeing the doll back in the upstairs bedroom that he had originally been given. And Gene was like, that's impossible. I locked him in the attic. And when Gene went upstairs to that bedroom, he found the doll back in the room, sitting in the rocking chair by the window. He continually would lock Robert back up in the attic, only to find him later back in that room, sitting in the rocking chair. So Jean died in 1972, and a new owner moved into the house, and their 10-year-old daughter found Robert still in the attic. And she began to tell her parents the same things that Jean told his parents when he was a child. Robert was alive. The doll wanted to hurt her. She would wake up in the middle of the night screaming and told her parents that Robert would move around her room on his own. Eventually, the parents just kind of were like, that's enough. So they gave him to the East Martello Fort Museum, which is in Florida. And that's where he lives today. He sits inside of a glass case. You are not allowed to touch him. He supposedly moves on his own. Cameras and electronic devices malfunction in his presence. If you want to take a picture with him, you have to ask his permission. If you don't ask his permission, he'll place a curse on you. And people at the museum kind of thought this was BS, but they, to this day, receive letters from all over the country addressed to the doll, apologizing for not asking for his permission and begging him to lift the curse on them. And that's Robert. That's Robert. He's terrifying to look at. You can go see him for yourself if you so choose.
Yeah, they allegedly have a room full of letters. And candy.
If you look him up online, like in his display case, like the walls are like coated with letters from around the country and around the world of people writing him and begging him to remove the curse.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
He's in Key West, if anyone ever goes to Key West.
Yeah, I'd love to go see him.
He's there and real scary looking.
Oh, yeah.
And has, stuffed dog.
He has a stuffed dog?
I think it looks like a dog.
Oh, I see it. Ugh.
So they do have a warning sign up. And it's a letter that was written to them by someone who had a problem with Robert. It says, Robert, I should have listened to those who warned me about photographing you. I paid for the few of the photos I took. Listed below is the trouble you caused me. Everything I bought from Key West came up missing. Upon returning my car rental, an unexplained charge showed up on my credit card. The hotel I had a reservation at gave my room to someone else. On my return flight home, I was assigned the same seat as someone else, like his seat was double booked. When I went to retrieve my luggage at the airport, it wasn't on the carousel. It had been put on another plane. Mine was the only one that was on the wrong carousel. When he got home, the first thing his cat did was bite him. And his first day back from vacation, he was extremely late to work.
Oh my god.
That sounds like a day that could really happen to anybody without seeing Robert, but...
Yeah.
It definitely does. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens to people is probably, fake. Or coincidental, I should say.
It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, there's also apparently a really terrible horror movie called The Curse of Robert the Doll.
You're kidding.
And for some inexplicable reason, he doesn't look like the real Robert. They made him more like stereotypically scary.
He looks kind of like a ventriloquist dummy.
He does, which I don't understand because he's so scary. But you know what? They did the same thing with Annabelle.
Mm-hmm.
The real Annabelle is scarier.
He looks like the seed of Chucky.
He does look like Seed of Chucky.
They based Chucky on Robert the Doll, didn't they?
I believe they did, yes.
Oh my god.
It all circles back around.
Yes, I believe they did base Chucky on Robert the Doll.
So The Curse of Robert the Doll is a sequel. The first one is just called Robert, and it was made in 2015.
Oh god, there were two.
The Curse of Robert the Doll came out in 2016. That's so funny. We're gonna have to watch them now.
Do we
It looks terrible.
Yes.
It has 3 stars. out of 10.
Hey, the sequel has 4.
Oh, well, it improved. Yeah, it looks really horrible. It looks like it was probably after Annabelle was a hit.
Mm-hmm. Most likely.
They made Robert.
I'm glad neither of you chose Annabelle.
I thought Annabelle was off limits.
Yeah, I mean, Annabelle would have been an easy choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and also, like, it's obvious that Ed and Lorraine Warren saw that one episode of The Twilight Zone and were like, what if we bought a Raggedy Ann doll and made a bunch of money off of it? Like, the story is obviously fabricated. It's legitimately a copy of a 1968 episode of The Twilight Zone.
Oh.
So, I don't know. It's no fun when it's obviously not haunted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is
But-
creepy.
Yeah, Robert's pretty creepy.
That's Robert. He's very scary looking. I think the sailor suit makes it worse.
Yeah, it does. Well, when I Google pictures, like I'm just going through Google Images, there are a few pictures of people holding him.
They're probably like staff at the museum or something. Or does it seem like it's someone who's visiting?
Well, there was one lady that was just like, okay, this is just a group of people. And they're all smiling and they're holding him. Some of them have like badges on, like
Well, so
like lanyards.
he went to a horror convention.
Oh.
It was the first time he was ever taken out of the museum. It was a few years ago.
Hmm.
So that's probably it.
Okay.
That's really cute.
That's awesome.
I would probably not that I believe it's haunted, but why would I risk it?
Exactly. Well, that was exactly Nikki and I when we went to the Black Angel. We were both like, "Oh, we'll touch it." Like, we don't believe it, and then we got there and we're like,
Yeah, why
risk
but
it?
what if?
Yeah, and it's so funny because these haunted objects are always so vague. It's like bad things are gonna happen to you and you're gonna die.
I know.
You mean life?
Exactly.
I was waiting for one of you to find the chair, the haunted chair. Have you guys heard of that
Oh,
one?
yeah. The what is it? It's a bar stool, right?
It's not a bar stool, but it was a chair that was
Oh.
in a bar. I think it's
Okay.
a chair with a back.
Yeah.
And this guy, there's this long, detailed story about the chair, and this guy apparently cursed it and said, if anyone sits in this chair, I'll kill them or something. And then after the guy died, I mean, an absurd amount of people who have touched the chair have died within days or months of touching this chair. And there was a maid who was cleaning and she accidentally bumped up against it and died the next day. And now it's in a museum somewhere. It's mounted 6 feet up on a wall so no one can sit in the chair.
Oh my god,
Right.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Because, that was his spot.
Yeah,
you know?
it's hanging
Yeah.
from the ceiling so nobody will touch it.
Your mind is pretty powerful, and if you really think you're gonna die because you touch something, if you're that stressed about it,
Oh, exactly.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, So with a lot of these haunted objects, it's kind of like, I don't know if I really buy it. But like you said, I'm not gonna touch that doll. You'd have to force me into it to touch that doll, or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would I take that chance?
Yeah.
I've always had this theory about Robert the doll that if it actually was haunted, that it was one of those poltergeisty situations where the kid put his id in the doll on accident.
Oh my god.
Like a
Well,
little
yeah, 'cause
stranger
he named
thing.
the doll after himself.
That's
it was
amazing.
a mirror of him, and it was his shadow self. I mean, there are a ton of narratives
Yeah.
like that.
Oh.
Well, and
creepy.
in some versions of the story that I found, it said that the little boy told his parents that he had to go by Gene, that Robert was the doll's name now. And so he couldn't go by Robert anymore.
Ugh.
Yeah, the doll subsumed his name. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of freaky psychoanalytic shit going on there.
I mean, my guess is that this was a little boy that was acting out
Yeah.
for whatever reason, just blamed it on the doll.
Well,
Probably had a shitty home life.
projecting something onto that doll. Who knows what?
The doll did all the stuff so he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my choice. The only other one that I was gonna pick, I almost picked it, but it wasn't really a haunted object. It was like a cursed location. I was gonna do King Tut's tomb.
Oh, that would have been fine.
Well, I didn't think it counted, so I didn't do it.
No, it totally did. Maybe we'll do curses one day.
Yeah, we'll do curses, and I can do King Tut's tomb. Because it's a good one.
Okay, if we do curses, no one can do the set of The Exorcist. Because that's like of course, I mean, that's on every... It's the story that's told most often when you say curses, like on podcasts at least.
Wait,
it's a good story.
Exorcist?
Yeah, the set of The Exorcist, all the people who died and had terrible accidents.
Poltergeist.
Also The Exorcist.
No, nobody died on The Exorcist, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I think a few.
Pretty sure.
My Favorite Murder actually did a thing on it in one of the early episodes, I think.
I've never heard that.
It's a good one. You should look it up. I can't remember which episode it was, though. Pretty freaky. It was, yeah, I remember it.
Are you sure My Favorite Murder didn't do Poltergeist? Because I remember them talking about Poltergeist.
Was it Poltergeist?
No, I know The Exorcist was one of them. There was, like, crew members who were, like, I think getting injured, and a lot of them were leaving. Stuff like that.
There's a Wikipedia page, I think, that has an itemized list of episodes, so if I can Control F it, maybe I'll find it.
Okay, because I remember them doing Dominique Dunne from Poltergeist. I remember them talking
I could be
about
wrong
Poltergeist. Because in Poltergeist, I mean, Dominique Dunne died. Or maybe they talked about all of them.
No keywords for Poltergeist on the episode guide. They only talked about The Exorcist.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing stories about weird things happening on set and people being freaked out while they were filming the movie.
Yeah. If we do curses, though, you can do Poltergeist.
There you go.
All because they had to use the real skeletons. Damn them.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, and I remember them talking about that, so maybe I'm getting those two things confused. It's possible I am.
Anyway, we're so far off topic.
Well, I have like a little mini short, like, haunted object thing that happened to me.
Oh, great.
I'm not going to tell this full story because some of it is just, like, embarrassing. But has it been? I'm trying to think. 3 years ago, my cousin Christopher drowned in the river that's, like, just down the street from me, the Mississippi River. Our family kind of distributed different items of his to different members of the family. I ended up with 2 of his Korn posters. Because he was a big Korn fan, and I am too. But we also ended up with this, like, really weird candle. It was, like, shaped like a dragon, I think. I think it was supposed to be it was either a dragon or a gargoyle. It was, like, somewhere in between. I was super excited about it because I was like, oh, this thing is really cool. It's going to be awesome to have it sitting in my room. So, like, for some reason, middle of the night, like, I was up super late and I just decided, okay, I'm just going to go out and, like, my house is, like, pitch black except for my bedroom. And I'm like, I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put this thing. So I go out, I grab it, and I just, like, set it on my dresser or something. I don't know what happened in my mind or just what happened in general, but, like, from that point on, I was absolutely terrified. Literally nothing happened, but I was so freaked out and uncomfortable. I felt like I couldn't move. I felt like there was something in the room and, like, I was literally going to die if I moved. And I sat on my bed for hours, like, talking to one of my friends who was trying to calm me down because I was so freaked out. And I finally, like, got up, ran past it out of my bedroom, and, like, woke my mom up. And I was like, Mom, you gotta get this thing out of my room now. And so in the middle of the night, my mom had to get up and come in and take the thing out of my room. And it sits on our deck, and it has been on our deck ever since then. And it just stays there. It has not moved. I don't know what happened, but it scared me half to death. So, yeah, that's my little mini cursed
I
object.
almost feel like we've all had something like that we think is unlucky or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, I've never told anyone this, so now's a good time. I have this bottle of perfume or body spray from fucking Bath and Body Works that I've had forever. Every time I wear it or even touch it, someone in my family dies or I have a breakup. Or a
oh my
huge
god.
fight.
Oh my god.
I'm too scared to touch it to throw it away. Like, that's the like, neurosis that has happened in my mind over this one object.
Oh my
Creepy.
god.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I'm sure I've had one, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm too sleep deprived.
Actually, the next episode will be curses.
I think the candle was part of it, but, like, I have a cross in my bedroom. I'm not religious. I'm definitely not a Christian or Catholic or anything like that, but there is a cross above my bed because I was so scared, basically, to sleep in my room for a long time that my mom bought me that thing.
Oh, that's
and, you know, if it
funny.
makes you feel better.
Yeah, and part of it was because of that candle. And, like, I kind of want to take it down because I don't really feel a need to have it up anymore, but part of me is also like, what if I take it down and, like, something starts happening?
Well,
Right.
I know. I have some sage smudge sticks that I've never used, but I thought just in case I have a ghost, it'd be cool to have smudge sticks.
Yeah.
So you can burn some sage and, you know, say toe in or whatever, and then maybe you can take the cross down. You'll feel okay.
Yeah. It's crazy to me how this stuff, like, how it all works out, how our brains immediately jump to, like, oh my god.
Right.
Like, it's haunted.
It's a jinx.
Yeah. I'm cursed. It just amazes me.
So I don't know. Have we decided we're, like, not picking when we do these things? Like, they're not really battles, or do we? What's up with this?
I think we
can't
are
remember.
picking.
You have to pick. I picked. Miranda picked, and her.
Yeah, everybody picked. Oh, I suppose this is my first time doing this. No wonder I feel so awkward. Okay. Robert the Doll is a classic, and he's dear to my heart. But that painting, like, I looked at that painting, and, like, my hackles raised.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna give it to the painting.
Oh my gosh!
Yay!
Yeah, like, fucking paintings! Jesus!
Hey, I'm 2 for 2!
You are,
All
aren't
right.
you? No, I won one and I lost one.
I'm making
No,
good choices.
Like, I love Robert, though. Like, that story, holy shit. What a dear little object, Robert.
Ugh. God, that thing is so creepy.
They're both so creepy.
And I wouldn't take a picture with Robert without asking. Apparently, he's supposed to nod a little bit.
Like, why would you risk it? Like, what if it is real?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Did you say he's supposed to nod?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently. Well, one version of it I heard is that when you ask permission, if you see him incline his head a little bit, that means yes, go ahead. If he doesn't move, then don't take the picture.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he has to give you permission to take the photo. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get permission...
Ugh.
Yeah, you can't just go, Robert, can I take a picture and then take a picture. It has to be like meeting a hippogriff for the first time. You know, you have to do the bow, and then if it bows back, then you can pet it.
You can ride it.
You know?
Oh my god. Oh, that's so creepy. Oh,
yeah.
A little side note. Did you guys know that Ed and Lorraine Warren had a demonology museum?
Yeah, that's where Annabelle is. It's in their house.
It's in The Conjuring.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that. I knew that she was in their house, and I knew they had everything set up in their house. I didn't know they turned it into a museum.
Oh, hell yes, because then they can charge people money to come see these things. Of course.
Okay, but, like, I kind of want to go.
Well, Lorraine's still alive, I believe.
She is still kicking.
If you want to see the inside of their house, watch this documentary called My Amityville Horror. It's actually really good. It's with the son.
I found it to be really depressing.
It is depressing because he had kind of a shitty life growing up. His father was awful. And it's more, like, it's also about their, like, family dynamics and how...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was really clear to me that, like, for me anyway, I interpreted it as the son really believes that the house was haunted because he can't accept that his stepfather was so horribly abusive.
Mm.
And so the only way that he can cope with it is believing that the house was haunted and the stepfather was possessed.
Yeah.
He believes that it was haunted. You can tell in the interview. It's really fascinating, even if you don't believe it from a psychological standpoint. Plus, you get to see the inside of Lorraine Warren's house, and she keeps chickens in her house, and they're those kinds of chickens that have the big poofs on their heads. It's really funny. She's like this most eccentric old lady, of course.
That's hilarious.
I have like a really strong love-hate relationship with the Warrens. I'm like, I don't believe you.
Well, she was on... Did you ever watch Paranormal State on A&E?
Mm-mm.
She was on Paranormal State sometimes.
Okay, she claims to have a part of the cross that Jesus was crucified on.
Oh, that's neat.
Lady, that is bullshit. But she says that, like, she thinks, I mean, that piece of wood that probably came from a lumberyard was actually the cross. Like, oh, Lorraine.
How would you ever know?
I don't know, but she believes it. I mean, I don't know.
That's all right. She's an old
funny.
lady.
I know, but she did this from the time when she was a very young woman.
So here's my thing with people like the Warrens and like a lot of psychics is, on one hand, it's gross because they're taking advantage of people that are in pain and grieving. But on the other hand, I know a lot of people who have been grieving or are just, in some kind of pain because they didn't get to talk, have that last conversation with whatever loved one. And visiting a psychic really makes them feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, it really helps them move on. And so it's like, on one hand, it's gross because you're taking advantage of them. But on the other hand, if it makes them feel better, who is it hurting? So that's kind of how I feel about the Warrens. I mean, it's not really hurting anybody.
I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying I think that all psychics or all people who exercise chairs are that way. I just think there's a strong case for the Warrens being exploitative on purpose. But also I think they're fascinating and really, like, if that could be my day job, I would totally do it. So there's, like, kind of that balance. But I feel the same way about people, like Teresa Caputo, who,
Oh, the New Jersey psychic lady. Or no, Long Island.
She's a Long Island medium. She sees people in the grocery store and she goes, oh, your grandfather wanted to say hi. By the way, he has his cane with him. And then goes, that'll be $50, please.
But it makes them feel better.
But it makes them feel better.
Did you guys see the episode of Adam Ruins Everything where he talks about psychics?
No.
I love him. I feel like I'm always referencing him because I learned so much from him. But he kind of talked about how there are the majority of psychics are basically just people who are doing, I think it's called a cold reading. That might be wrong, but it's just very vague information that could pretty much apply to anyone. But then he talks about people who are just really, really, like, intuitive people. And those are people who are genuinely trying to help. And, so there are some good ones out there who may actually, like, have some sort of intuition about what's going on. But yeah, and he was talking about how a lot of the times people who do see psychics actually, like, feel worse. It doesn't make their grief any better because then they just, like, keep grasping for straws. Oh,
like they obsess over the existence of their loved one in the afterlife. And that they have a conscious and...
Yeah, so they can't, like, let it go and, like, all that kind of stuff, so... Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really want to believe that, like, psychics and haunted objects and all that kind of stuff is real.
I don't know if I want to believe that haunted objects are real, but... I definitely believe that some people have the gift, but they're probably not the people that are out there making money off of it.
Right. If you're following us on SoundCloud, make sure you switch over to Podbean before probably the new year because we're going to cancel our SoundCloud membership there and switch over to Podbean. We just feel it's like more of a secure service. Also, it's cheaper. So
Podbean's probably not going to go under.
Follow us on iTunes. It helps people find the podcast. I know you've heard this about 1,000 times if you listen to podcasts, but it really does help people find the podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to subscribe to us on Podbean. And we have a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/QOTD podcast. We also have a Facebook. Username is also QOTD podcast there. And we will see you in 2 weeks.